It's Yugi Plus Pass. You know the drill. No, this year I did Fire Brigade. It was a really fun deck. I spent a lot of time on it. It wasn't as consistent today at the tournament as it was on Dueling Book and stuff like that, but that's okay, that happens. I was just proud to have worked on it so hard, practiced it so much, and really fun for the tournament that we did here. So getting into it, you have your usual three, your Fire King Ponix, super consistent. You can normal summon this to get the effect of get the Sanctuary out, Sanctuary into Fire King Island. Special summoned it a couple times as well, or just destroyed from hand. You get to destroy to add back to hand, which was great. So very important for the Fire King engine. I ran one Skyburn, searched it once if I had already kind of extended into the island with the Ponix or drew it, and I think I used it once today, so good kind of dark hole depending on what you have out on the field. I ran 3 Kieran. Kieran's super solid. The special summon in Grave to pop a monster on the board during your turn or opponent's turn was really good. Special summon from hand. So Kieran was really necessary. Run 3 of those. I only run 2 Grunics. I find that 2 was pretty consistent. Kept that on board. So Grunics was pretty solid. And then I only ran 1 Borong and 1 Arvada. I would usually use the Kieran effect to pop a Borong, or I would use the Borong to get a Kieran to hand. Arvada didn't come up too much, I think came up once to get the monster to get on board. Probably didn't utilize these properly and as much as I should have, but they were there when I needed them. Getting into the Tri-Brigade side of things, you obviously need 3 Fractal, one of the best cards in this deck just to top deck, and use its effect from hand to destroy and send to graveyard. So Fractal was really solid. Then you can get into the rest of the Tri-Brigade stuff. Fractal to send your kit. And then I also used Grunics, which is probably where a lot of the synergy resides, where you use Grunics to pop a kit in deck. Since it's a Fire Beast, Fire Beast, pop it from the deck, and then you can go into the Tri-Brigade all while using the Fire Kings. That's kind of ideally what I would do. Kit to Nerval, ran 3. I drew this card a lot today, and it was kind of unfortunate, so maybe would make that 2, but I don't know. It off the deck profiles that I was seeing and kind of working off of, they had this at 3, so ran Nerval at 3. You only need 1 Karass because you can search it and add it to hand off of the Tri-Brigade engine. So 1 Karass, would use it to special summon, then use its effect to go into the Bear Burrow and add the Tri-Brigade Revolt in that Palooza usually. We'll get a little bit more into that onto the extra deck, but 3 Tenki, it's basically 6 Fractal in the deck. So I would use Tenki. I also ran Diabellstar, so as a continuous spell, it was a good one. I think I used it once to pop to special summon the Diabellstar, which was great. And then obviously 1 Tri-Brigade Revolt. And that I added off the Bear Brum. You can interrupt on your opponent's turn. Great card. Necessary for the Tri-Brigade engine. I did do the Diabellstar stuff. It was great to be able to get the extra draw and special summon the Ponix with the Sinful Spoils. I kind of struggled working around and just learning the ins and outs of Black Witch, kind of what to do with it on field. It kind of was get a little clunky working around since it wasn't a Tri-Beast or a Tri-Brigade monster. So, but still very solid. Getting the draw and getting the Ponix out was very, very good. Using it as bait, things like that. So very, very good all around. And then basically just hand traps from here. 3 Ghost Bell, 3 Ash, I don't need to explain these, and 3 Imperm. And that was the main deck. Let me get all these cards out of the way. Moving on to extra deck here. I did shell out a little bit of dough for the Typhoon Sky Crisis. That came up once. I actually used these 2 together in a couple combos, took control of a link zone that this pointed to, and then basically outed 1, outed another, kind of got me out of boards or sticky situations. So these, kind of work in any deck if used properly, especially with the level 1s, Nerval and Ponix, you can get this guy out. So pretty good in here, and then Sky Crisis works in just about any deck, depending on what your opponents are doing. Obviously 1 Eternity, Dark Hole, basically, and you can also detach to destroy a spell or trap on the backside, so really good. Also necessary for this deck. You can do it during your opponent's turn with the Fire King stuff, so really good. And then Appaloosa, which I used a lot. My ideal board kind of was a Appaloosa 3 negates with a Revolt down. Appaloosa did get impermed a couple times today, so that's tough, but you know, a Tri-Brigade down or a Revolt down and a 3 negate Appaloosa is always going to be pretty solid. So that was kind of the main combo I'd go for, was basically this right here. So and this deck really lets you link climb. With that said, I ran 2 Shurag. Used its effect a couple times when it left the field to add from deck to hand with the banished monsters as well. Non-target banish on the field, which is great. I used the Bear Brum to get the Tri-Brigade Revolt, as well as Farajit every once in a while, special summon from hand, just to extend a little bit more. And then Access Code Talker, only ever used if I knew I was kind of going to be in an OTK situation going second. The Rugal was a little bit spicy. I haven't seen a lot of people run this. I was able to kind of use this to OTK because I could link climb using the Rugal, and then link it with a Karas or a Garunix or something on field to go into an Access Code Talker, all while not being, you know, since we're locked with the Tri-Beast or the Tri-Brigade, it was just kind of fluid. You kind of wanted to link 3. I'm not running Little Knight, which I probably should be. So this was just kind of what I filled in for Little Knight. It was good, keep me on the link climb ladder, all while falling under the Tri-Brigade or Tri-Beast rules. I ran 1 Ancient Warrior Oath, double Dragon Lords. This is pretty self-explanatory. I ran against the Dinomorphia. I almost was able to get the big Rex guy out with this, but the life points were at 1,000 and not 1,100, so I couldn't quite do it. But very good extender that you can get basically off the Tri-Brigade effects. Zelantis never really came up, but kind of more of an OTK option as well. And then I also ran the Ablaze as well as the Selene. Didn't come up too much, but with the Diabellstar stuff, you can get the Spellcaster mixed in there to get an Ablaze. Lots of fire, Diabellstar for Selene every once in a while, and then lots of fire, so Blaze works as well. If there's an effect failure in your opponent's grave, you kind of link climb off of it as well. So not too bad, but didn't come up too much. And then if you ever were in odd sticky situations, the Almirage was there as well. So that's pretty much the core of the deck. These are the side deck cards. Didn't use them. Cosmic Cyclone I used a couple times. My deck I found did not have a lot of spell and trap pops, so this was good on the decks that were kind of spell and trap heavy. We have in our meta, we have a few back row setters, so this came up a couple times. I did have 2 Fenrir, but they never got drawn, unfortunately. Shelled out some dough for those and they never came around, but did have them in the side deck. We had 3 Droll and Lockbird, kind of more just hand trappy stuff. 1 anti-spell Vagrants, 3 evenly matched, and 3 Nibiru. I actually, funny enough, I've cited Nibiru a couple times. I've never actually used it, and I was able to use it today at some point in the tournament, so it was good citing that. Long day of dueling, but very fun, and really fun to know the ins and outs of this deck, and it works well, just not so much today, so hoping to use it again in the future. Happy dueling. Oh, yeah, and of course, UV Bus Pass. That's how you actually win duels, not with Fire Brigades.